It's 6:30 and I'd like to call this meeting to order. So if you're looking for a seat, yoo-hoo. I don't whistle. We're going to try it again. It's 6:30 and I'd like to call this meeting to order. So if you're looking for a seat, there's plenty up front. I would also appreciate, we have with us tonight Boy Scout Troop 323, and I'd like them to come forward and please rise as they lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much, Troop 323. May I have roll call, please?
Mr. Pantera,
Here.
Mrs. Case,
Here.
Mrs. Greenberg,
Here.
Mrs. Baker,
Here.
Mrs. Christensen.
Here.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of agenda. Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, President Greenberg, Governing Board, Cabinet, and guests. Items approved by consent will not come up for discussion during the meeting, but will be approved when the agenda is adopted. This is possible since members of the Governing Board receive the agenda along with backup materials at least 24 hours prior to the meeting and have had time to review and consider all items. Prior to the agenda being adopted, members of the Governing Board may ask that an item be removed from the consent agenda and brought to the floor for discussion at the appropriate place on the agenda. Any member of the audience who submitted a blue public comment card prior to the start of the meeting will be recognized to speak on that agenda item under items for approval. President Greenberg, we've had some questions regarding consent item F14. Mrs. Berrigan is not here this evening, and she would be the most appropriate to be able to answer those questions. So due to that, administration is recommending you approve the consent agenda without F14, and we will put it on a future agenda when Mrs. Berrigan is here to answer questions.
And no changes other than that.
No changes other than that.
Okay, thank you. We actually have no blue comment cards, blue public comment cards, so no member of the audience is asked to move anything. Does any member of the Governing Board wish to have an item removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mrs. Christensen, may I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda and recommended consent agenda items as presented?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is Governing Board statements. Mrs. Case, do you have anything? I'm sure you do.
Good evening. Welcome. I'm glad to have you here. I had an opportunity to travel internationally, and I was amazed at how many languages people knew and how few we know in America. And I'm so grateful that we have the Spanish immersion program at school and the Chinese. And I just think that it's so important that our students learn other languages. And I took German in high school, and I can't do much German now, but I did learn a lot about my own language when I took German in high school. And my children have learned foreign languages, and you actually learn English better when you take a foreign language because you take apart things and you figure out things and think about our own language in a different way. And also while I was traveling, I came to understand how little I knew. I consider myself pretty well read. And I am so ignorant and I learned so much. But the good side is I love to learn. And my poor husband, he puts it in categories. Do I need to know this? And he learns all the time about things, but I like to learn about lots and lots of things. And I realized after speaking with some of my children that they knew a whole lot about what I did not know. And I'm so grateful to the education they received in our schools. And anyway, it's interesting to compare, and it's also fun. I got to talk to a lot of people about education in other countries, and I think we're doing a really good job. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Case. Mr. Pantera, do you have anything?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Glad to see you all here. It's funny you mentioned the dual language thing. You remember the last board meeting, I said my granddaughter was coming to visit. I was so excited to show her our Spanish immersion program. For some reason, she thought that missing a day of school in Idaho, only to come and go to school again here in Arizona, was not such a great idea. So it kind of didn't make it to her agenda, but that's something she'd be totally into. Had a great few weeks here. 2 weeks ago, I was at the Arizona School Board Association Law Conference. And as we discussed as a board, our agenda items that we're going to propose to the other school districts to be part of a larger plan to encourage our legislature to do the right thing by school districts. Well, we put forth the junior ROTC program, that one aspect that was not part of their overall plan to lobby for the legislature to get help from the state. Because we get federal monies, I use our own monies, but it'd be nice if they had the state to help. So we've been working on that. Well, now because of what we put together and what I proposed at that school board association, many school boards are going to be on board because they adopted that resolution. And it's going to be something now everyone's looking at to improve that aspect of education for everyone. So I'm really proud about what we did for that. So that was pretty cool. And again, I'm really happy to talk about a friend of mine, a colleague, who was in the news just a little while ago. That we'll probably talk more about. We will. Okay. Just want to say I'm there with you. Okay, Dr. Hudson. People who stick with it this long, there's not many of us. And I just hope that what we can somehow do in our district is encourage all of our teachers to have that same ability to stay here that long and make this their home, like it was for Karen and myself. And it's going to be my job to try and make it that way. Thank you, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Pantera. Mrs. Christensen?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome all the community members, staff members, parents, and students that are here today. We appreciate you participating in community events and our governing board meetings. I have two things I wanted to mention, and I'm so happy that Mr. Pantera mentioned the ASBA delegate meeting. We had an ASBA law conference, and I wanted to shout out to Mr. Pantera because he did a great job. We had I was the alternate. He was our representative at the state delegate meeting, and he did do a good job adding that JROT. So I appreciate it, and thank you, Tony, for doing that. My last item today is, while we really strive to promote academic achievement here at PV Schools, school safety is equally as important. And I just wanted to do a little public service announcement to remind the parents to check in on your kids. If you have them contact one of their trusted either teachers or school administrators. If you see something, say something. I know that sometimes during beginning the school year and at the end, we have some copycat issues and concerns, but we want all our kids are safe. And so shout out to our school resource officers that are here and they always protect us, as well as our educators, counselors, and social workers. So there's just been an increasing number of behaviors, including fights during school times and even after school programs, sporting events, etc. So just please reach out to your kids and have them say something if they see something unsafe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Christensen. Mrs. Baker.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So glad to see so many of you. We have a big awards night tonight. And welcome Troop 323. Is that correct? Okay, yeah, welcome. I today wanted to talk about something different. It is National Suicide Awareness Month. And I think that at this day and age, it's such a timely topic. I was able to go to UPC's meeting yesterday, and they had a speaker talking about suicide and suicide prevention. And what she was saying was just so important. It is important that we talk to our kids about suicide. It is important that we check in on them. I know I used to be afraid to say that word to my kids because I don't want to put that idea in their head. But it doesn't put that idea in their head, or it might already be in their head. And if we are someone that they can come to and feel safe and talk to, then we can keep those kids here and keep them alive. Suicide is the second highest cause of death for 10 to 14-year-olds. Second highest. And third for 15 to 24-year-olds. And for LGBTQIA students, they are 4 times as likely to commit suicide. Or I don't think we're supposed to say that anymore. But so I just wanted to bring awareness to it, bring attention to it, encourage people to talk to their children, encourage open conversations with your children, because it is such an important topic, and our kids they're awesome, but they're going through some stuff. And so they need someone to talk to. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Baker. I also want to welcome Troop 323 again. I think that when my son was in Scouts, that was probably his troop number. Yep, that's us, right? That's PB's troop number. It's been a while, right, Mrs. Case, since we've had Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts here, so welcome. And just so everybody knows, they are working on their communications badge. So we need to keep the communications going. If, we get in a little bit of a tiff, that'll work too. We've always been told we need to have an argument when the troops are working on that badge. So we'll figure it out. We'll say, we'll argue not to argue.
Yeah.
Bolo tie. All right, with the bolo ties. I also want to mention, I was also able to get to the ASBA Law Conference beginning of the month. I've gone to many of these over the years, and I'd have to say it was one of the best. I mean, it really was outstanding. The 2 keynote speakers, particularly the first day, was absolutely riveting. And there were different themes, I think, throughout, but artificial intelligence was certainly one. And it was pretty eye-opening, some of the information we received. And I appreciate the fact that Cabinet was there and we had other staff members there. And I know this topic that we'll be looking into a little bit more. But just want to thank the district for having that ability to be at the law conference. Also want to do a shout out after the United Parent Council meeting yesterday, UPC held a luncheon for its new representatives. And again, want to thank Cabinet for being there. We all got an invitation. Cabinet was there. Mrs. Baker and I were able to be there. And it was great to meet up with some of the new UPC reps. And if you are at a school that is still trying to figure it out, please get your rep's name into UPC. And with that, next on our agenda is awards and recognitions. Dr. Reynolds.
At this time, I would like to invite the governing board to join me in front of the dais. Dr. Holmes.
Good evening, President Greenberg, Governing Board members, members of Cabinet, and attendees, both in person and virtual. Tonight, we have 4 recognitions to share with you. This evening, we'll be inviting our honorees to the front of the room for their recognition and photo. Honorees, please make your way up to the front of the room after your name is called. Our first honoree tonight has been a staple in the PV Schools community for 5 decades. She has touched the lives of students. Apparently, I need to be careful about what I emphasize. Yeah. She is respected and admired for her hard work, dedication, and commitment to excellence. This impressive educator has made quite the journey here in Paradise. Not only is she celebrating her 50th year of teaching in PV schools, but she recently earned the Arizona Award for Teaching Excellence from the AEA Foundation. Additionally, she is one of 48 public school teachers nationwide to win the 2025 Travelers Awards for Teaching Excellence awarded by the NEA. Later this year, she will represent Arizona at the Salute to Excellent Dinner in Washington, D.C., where she will be in the running for the prestigious Horace Mann Award. PV Schools is honored to recognize her as she is an unstoppable force. Please put your hands together for Dr. Karen Hudson.
Okay, I have spent a lot of time coming to governing board meetings. Yeah, and I mean, we used to be in the Greenway Library before they tore down Greenway and rebuilt it. Before that, we were in a portable over where there's a construction building. No kidding. And I just seem to be involved in coming to these things for a long time. So very familiar place, different things happening. But thank you again for honoring me, for giving me the opportunity to send me those contracts. Thank you. But you know,
I promise.
it took me, what, you sent it out at 3 o'clock and I hit the 3:08. I sent it back 3:08, yeah. Just, but thank you to my wonderful dear friends who have supported me. I could never have been this successful without all of you helping. And my experiences are so dear to me with so many of you. So anyway, thank you.
Next is the Paradise Valley Education Support Professional of the Month. PVSCA President, Ms. Michelle Courtwright, will make the presentation. Ms. Courtwright.
President Greenberg, Governing Board, Dr. Reynolds, and Cabinet. It is with great pleasure that I get to recognize an ESP of the month this time. And this month it's Kim Hall. She's a record clerk at Shadow Mountain High School. And there are a lot of things that are said about her, but the thing that I see over and over is that she is a stellar example of the I Care philosophy and culture that they have over at Shadow Mountain. She's also, from what I understand, really, really good at doing potlucks. But the thing that struck me the most is a few years ago, we had to collapse some positions at schools, and Kim's was one of those that was collapsed. Instead of leaving the place that she loved, she took another job on site. And when they had the meeting to figure out who was going to do the duties that she was not going to be there to do anymore, she stepped up with a list and took many of those on. So she works in the records part, and she still works in the guidance part because she believes in the district. And these are the kind of employees that we have, and it is with great honor and pleasure that we recognized Kim Hall for the ESP of the month. Thank you.
Our next recognition is a recipient of the Paradise Valley Education Association's Recognition of Professional Standards Award for Teachers. The honoree will be introduced by Ms. Heather Schmidt, PVA President. Ms. Schmidt.
Good evening, President Greenberg, Dr. Reynolds, Cabinet, Governing Board. Glad to be here. And my name is Heather Schmidt. I'm the president of the Paradise Valley Education Association. And tonight we are honoring Dr. Rini Samuel, a engineering teacher in the CREST program at Paradise Valley High School. Dr. Samuel was nominated by her colleague, Ms. Bhavna Verma. And in her nomination, she wrote, Dr. Rini Samuel is a kind, helpful, passionate, and wonderful educator, as well as an equally phenomenal colleague. With 20 years in the industry and 4+ years in PVUSD, she's highly experienced and knowledgeable, yet she remains one of the most unpretentious and modest people I have met. Her endurance and thoughtfulness provide valuable perspectives for both students and our PLC group, making her an excellent sounding board for personal and professional decisions. Dr. Samuel explores various facets of engineering and introduces them to her students through guest speakers, research, hands-on activities, helping them all to discover their passions and future pathways. She has undertaken numerous professional development trainings to continue her learning and stay ahead of industry trends, making her an excellent role model and mentor. Her students invite her to their games and performances, and she makes time after school to attend and support them. This is a testament to how much the students adore Dr. Samuel. Additionally, she is an author who has written inspirational stories and books for all ages. As a dependable colleague and trustworthy person, she extends genuine support to everyone. I am honored to be her colleague and friend. And PVEA received this nomination about 6 times in the last 2 years. And so we are very excited to be celebrating our first props recipient of the year in Dr. Rini Samuel.
Our final recognition this evening will be presented by Alyssa Orchard, President of the Paradise Valley Principals Association. Ms. Orchard will present the Administrators Celebrated for Excellence and Support Award. This quarterly recognition highlights administrators and their accomplishments. Ms. Orchard.
Good evening, President Greenberg, Governing Board members, Dr. Reynolds, Cabinet, and guests. It is my great honor to stand before you tonight representing an incredible group of leaders, the principals and vice principals of Paradise Valley. We would like to recognize one of our leaders for the ACES Award, Administrators Celebrated for Excellence and Support. While many principals were nominated, we would like to celebrate Marta Maynard. Her colleagues, Vicki Raymond, Stephanie Tuwecki, and Jacqueline Woods shared. Ms. Maynard is a dedicated educator and leader who is not only dedicated to her school community, but has also inspired and mentored countless other principals. We are 3 of her mentees who have had the honor of having Ms. Maynard as our role model and mentor. Ms. Maynard served as the principal at Quail Run for almost a decade and is now the principal at Desert Trails. This year marks her 12th year as principal in PV schools. Before being an administrator, she worked as a TOA, EL teacher, and classroom teacher. She has made a lasting impact on many students, families, educators, and leaders. Whether she is having an encouraging conversation with a student, getting all dressed up for a spirit day, or spreading positive cheer around campus, her passion for education and the future of our children is contagious. Ms. Maynard has a remarkable ability to connect with her students, staff, parents, and the broader community. Her passion for education is contagious, and she creates a positive and supporting learning environment where everyone feels valued and empowered. Schools under her leadership have experienced significant academic growth while also fostering a strong sense of community and belonging. Ms. Maynard has also gone above and beyond to be a mentor to several principals within PV schools. She's always on the other end of the phone or a Google chat. She's the most graceful and professional principal we have had the pleasure of working with. She generously shares her knowledge, expertise, and experience, inspiring and guiding us to become effective leaders. Her commitment to professional development and continuous improvement has had a profound impact on the entire PV Schools educational community. On behalf of the Paradise Valley principals, we honor Ms. Maynard as a true leader.
Madam President, that concludes our recognitions for this evening.
Congratulations again to all of our honorees. And next on the agenda is Superintendent's comments. Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, President Greenberg, Governing Board, Cabinet, and guests. I would like to echo Ms. Christensen's comments from earlier. Over the last several weeks, not unlike school districts across our nation, PV Schools has been navigating what has unfortunately become an annual social media trend. This trend involving generic and vague threats towards unnamed and seemingly random school names has caused concern and anxiety for our school communities throughout the country. While there has been no evidence to suggest that these threats are real or directed at our schools, we have taken them seriously and remain committed to providing accurate and information to our community. In times like these, where sharing posts on social media is a norm, we want to remind our community to report, not repost. Reposting online rumors, especially those that are designed to create fear, causes unnecessary unrest within our community, working against the amazing work happening within our school walls. Our first priority will always be the safety of our students and staff, and we want to say thank you to our parents, guardians, students, staff, and community for your partnership as we work together to combat this trend. Next, in PV Schools, we engage, inspire, and nurture students through high-quality instruction, meaningful educational opportunities, and dynamic learning experiences. One of those opportunities is our Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports, which the acronym is PBIS, which some of you are familiar with. Our evidence-based tiered framework for supporting students' needs. In PV Schools, we aim to create positive, predictable, equitable, and safe learning environments where everyone thrives, and this can be achieved through PBIS. Tonight, I want to give special recognition to 8 of our schools that were awarded the PBIS AZ for following the intervention framework with commitment and fidelity. So please help me congratulate. The Installing Award, Larkspur Elementary and Sweetwater Community School were awarded that. The Fidelity Award, Level 2, Copper Canyon Elementary, Eagle Ridge, Liberty, and James P. Lee Early Childhood Center. Level 3, Tier 1 and 2, Fireside Elementary, and Level 4, which is Tier 1, 2, 3, and Fidelity, was Desert Shadows Elementary School. So congratulations to all of those schools. I'd also like to mention that if you're able, we can join Shadow Mountain High School next Wednesday night, September 25th, for their annual DAPS informational night. This open house will provide families with information about the rigorous curriculum, robust courses, and the culminating Dapstone project. Learn how the humanities-based program will challenge the advanced student. For more information, please contact Shadow Mountain High School. Also, I'd like to bring attention for our families with 8th grade students who are interested in exploring STEM careers. You are invited to attend the Center for Research in Engineering, Science, and Technology, CREST, which we heard about earlier, information night on September 24th from 6 to 7:15 in the auditorium at Paradise Valley High School. So to learn more about the CREST program and its 4-year course sequence and hear from current students and recent graduates. So for more information, visit pvschools.net. Your junior year is an exciting time for many of our students with many important milestones ahead, and PV Schools wants to help you make the most of it. So join us for our next college and career presentation geared towards juniors and their families. Learn about preparing for college admissions, financial aid, and college readiness assessments. The event will be held on Tuesday, September 24th from 6 to 7 p.m. And for more information on this virtual event, please visit pvschools.net. And finally, tonight, I'd like to recognize the marketing and communications team for their concerted efforts in getting the right message to the right people at the right time. This team makes an effort to stay up to date on the latest crisis communications training and emergency response. And recently, a third member of the team completed the FEMA Emergency Management Institute for Public Information Officer Training. This certification provides essential knowledge, skills, and the abilities to support proper decision-making during a crisis. I can proudly say that our district now has 1 new basic level certified public information officer and 2 advanced level public information officers. Future department aspirations include obtaining master level certification and bringing our communications team into an elite group of crisis communicators nationwide. So congratulations to our Marcom team. Keep up the great work. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reynolds. Next on the agenda is items for approval. The first is consideration and approval of administrative personnel actions, and I will turn it over to Dr. Holmes.
Madam President, members of the board, Saul Hernandez is currently the senior buyer in our purchasing department, a position he's held for just over 2 years. If approved, he will receive salary and benefits consistent with the COA bargaining agreement. And we recommend you approve Mr. Hernandez to be our purchasing supervisor.
Thank you, Mrs. Christensen. May I please have a motion to approve the recommendation to hire Saul Hernandez as the next supervisor of purchasing as presented?
So moved.
Does any member of the board wish to make a comment, have a question? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations, Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez. Do you have family you would like to introduce? Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have agenda items G2 through G8, which are second readings for recommended policy revisions that were presented for consideration in a first reading at the August 22nd meeting. I would like to recommend a single motion to approve all the recommended revisions as there were, no suggested changes following the first reading. So may I have a motion to approve the recommended policy revisions for agenda items G2 through G8 as presented?
So moved.
Does any member of the board have any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. Are there any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next on the, I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of discussion here, guys. Next on the agenda is acceptance of gifts and donations. I'd like to review a few in particular. At Greenway Middle School, the Greyhawk Classic Residence Foundation presented the school with $11,300 for supplies for culinary, school-wide PBIS, tiered support, music and science programs. At Horizon High School, the Boosters Club, which is known as PAWS, gave the school $2,000 for staff events. At Liberty Elementary, the PTO donated $4,830 for the outdoor classroom. At North Canyon, Jostens provided $1,000 for staff events, and William Cook donated $1,600 for cross country. And at Pinnacle Peak Prep, Rebecca Clout donated just under $1,360 for site discretion use. We appreciate all the donations. There were certainly more on the list. So if you are here and you're a donor, thank you. If you know someone or a company that was, please also extend our thanks. And Mrs. Christensen, may I have a motion for acceptance of gifts and donations?
So moved.
Does any board member wish to make a comment? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is call to the public. So I ask that you please turn your attention to the video monitors.
Call to the Public is about to convene. This portion of today's meeting allows the public the opportunity to address the governing board. Although state law does not require that the governing board hold a call to the public, the Paradise Valley Unified School District and its board have chosen to do so because we believe it's important to hear about concerns and issues from our community. While Call to the Public is not designed to be a discussion, the board is here to listen. Due to Arizona open meeting law, the governing board cannot respond to, discuss, or take any action on items brought up during this time. However, staff members may be directed to get back to you and address individual concerns. As a reminder, the point of this and every board meeting is to accomplish the business at hand, and to be able to do so in an open and collaborative way. All in attendance are expected to observe meeting rules, as well as rules of politeness and decorum, so that we may serve as an example to our students that issues can be discussed in a respectful and civil manner.
Thank you. Tonight we have one person who submitted a comment card prior to the start of the meeting, so the speaker will have 3 minutes for remarks. As a reminder, we ask that you please direct your comments to the board and state your first and last name when you come to the podium. And our one speaker tonight is Heather Bendix.
My name's Heather Bendix. My son Jack, who was diagnosed with level 3 autism, started kindergarten at Copper Canyon this school year. We put a lot of effort into preparing Jack for this moment. Brandon George, the director of transportation for Paradise Valley School District, overstepped his boundaries by trying to dictate my son's rights despite not being a lawyer or a doctor. I've been navigating this system for a while as a mother of a child who's in high school, who's in a self-contained environment as well, been taking the school bus since first grade. I'm well versed in the rights of disabled children and recognize when they are being violated. Sorry, a little nervous. Story time. A week before school started, I contacted the transportation department to get Jack's bus information, only to be told we weren't in the system. This was strange because Jack has an IEP, which was completed in May 2024. When I called back a few days later, I was then told we were out of bounds. This was absurd as Jack's IEP placed him at the school that fits his need, and the PV district is responsible for getting him there safely. I informed Mr. George that he was incorrect in stating that we were out of bounds, that I would take legal action if transportation was not provided. Despite this, he insisted there was no special needs transportation to Copper Canyon, which is another violation because there's an autism program at that school. Mr. George suggested private transportation, but that was problematic because no one contacted me to discuss Jack's specific needs. I then contacted the director of special education, Linda Taylor, who was also unhelpful. Ms. Taylor suggested other options that were not suitable. Still not satisfied, I reached out to Dr. Lindsay, another district assistant superintendent. Dr. Lindsay also suggested private transportation, but when I explained that Jack would need a car seat and a camera due to limited verbal skills, she responded that only a seatbelt was listed as an accommodation, which was for a school bus, not a vehicle. The third-party transportation should never be used for the most vulnerable students, as these drivers are not properly trained to work with special needs kids, especially autistic kids. While all this was happening, Linda informed me that Liberty Elementary School had a 10-day drop, and now there was room for Jack. Their solution was to uproot my autistic son, who was already well established, into his routine at Copper Canyon. By this point, we had completed 2 weeks of school. I knew that when I was told about the 10-day drop, I would get strong-armed into having my son transfer, so if I continue to fight for special needs transportation, I would either have to take a leave of absence from my job, leaving 550 students without a music teacher and a program, or keep my job because I need one and have Jack miss school because PV was not providing proper transportation. We ended up paying his respite to take him to school during this time, which is not their job. Ultimately, we transferred him not because we wanted to, but because we had no choice. Jack's situation highlighted the PV's district's failure to provide proper transportation. Everyone involved knew Jack's rights were being violated and no one apologized. I asked Dr. Lindsay and Linda Taylor what they would have done if Liberty Elementary School had no drops after that 10-day legal drop period, to which they never answered, so I will answer for them. They would have been needed to create a special needs transportation route to Copper Canyon. My son's rights were violated. No transportation was provided for this first 2 weeks of school. No bus would have been provided if I hadn't moved my son different schools. Shame on Paradise Valley School District for mistreating the disabled population. I know other families were also impacted. Thank you.
Yeah, we will have someone reach out and just double check. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is items for discussion. I would like to invite our Director of Facilities and Construction, Dr. Drew Davis, to the podium to present the facilities 2024 summer construction projects. Dr. Davis.
President Greenberg, Governing Board, Superintendent Reynolds, Cabinet, and guests. Thank you for the opportunity to share our bond-funded construction projects for the 24 fiscal year. Before I jump into the descriptions and the photos of all the work that's been done, I do want to share just a little background about the projects. First of all, most of the projects were completed in the 65 days of summer this year. Projects were considered and selected utilizing several factors, including school input, safety, security, condition, and life expectancy. Our 255 projects, a summer record, were completed, and every school had a bond project this summer. And I wanted to just thank our school sites and kudos to the entire facilities department for the roles that they all played in enhancing our learning environments in our district. And most importantly, thank you to the PV Schools community for their support of our bond initiatives that made this possible. So, without further ado, let's jump into some projects. So we'll start with flooring. We had 9 projects district-wide. Flooring upgrades included polished concrete, carpet, and luxury vinyl tile. There are distinct advantages to these projects. Polished concrete requires significantly less maintenance than older vinyl tile flooring, and carpet squares enable replacement of stained or damaged areas without having to replace an entire room. Placed carpet at Sweetwater, and there is the polished concrete in the hallways of Desert Shadows Middle School. We had 8 interior paint projects. Interior paint in a school maintains cleanliness and a fresh appearance. Echo Mountain Intermediate and Wildfire Elementary School as our examples there. And millwork upgrades. Millwork projects include full replacement of plumbing and damaged cabinetry, as well as replacing outdated laminate type countertops. We utilize the solid surface, the solid material countertops now that won't get that water damage that at least I know all of my laminate countertops have. You may have also noticed, oh, here's a couple pictures of the upgrades at Echo Mountain Intermediate and Shea Middle School. You may have also noticed in the last few slides that we did a substantial remodel at Echo Mountain Primary and Echo Mountain Intermediate. This summer, we completed painting projects, millwork projects, and flooring projects there. And one of the largest projects of the summer, the best feedback we received from staff and students is how excited they were that they got to walk into a brand new school. Our exterior painting and weatherization projects, 11 projects throughout the district. Exterior sealing and painting extends the life of the building envelope, inhibits insects and pests from entering, and makes a building more energy efficient. And there's the new facade to Desert Shadows Middle School. We had some plumbing upgrade projects this summer. As schools age, pipes and valves deteriorate. By identifying key lines of plumbing in schools for repair and replacement, we avoid those nasty catastrophic floods that can occur. And you can see our older pipe and then a new relined pipe at Pinnacle High School. Lots of HVAC projects this summer. Good timing, given that we've had such wonderful record-setting heat, as a majority of our schools have entered their third decade of life. Original build HVAC systems have surpassed life expectancy in the desert climate. And as we know, problematic and aging HVAC units impact safety, comfort, and the learning environment, and are more costly to use, maintain, and repair. And so this is an important project that will certainly continue on, but you can see that we addressed a variety of issues from our chiller plants to our water towers to the individual units in the classroom. We had 8 parking lot improvement projects from seal and stripe to complete replacement. Parking lots are replaced after attempts to seal and repair cracks are made. Expanding cracks, uneven pavement, and general deterioration present hazards and safety concerns. Additionally, this work provides an opportunity to update ADA accessibility and address drop-off and pickup areas. And we were able to address some issues at Shadow Mountain High School by creating an entirely new pickup and drop-off area. And I think we've reduced a little of the traffic on Shea Boulevard in the morning. A little. You can see this is some of the things that we look for in our deteriorating pavement, and then, of course, the nice after. We undertook 50 playground and sport court upgrades this summer. Playground upgrades included play surface improvements for student safety and appropriate ADA accessibility, replacing outdated playgrounds with both elevated and ground level play equipment provides multiple engagement and play opportunities for students. And our sport court upgrades included the repair of existing areas and renewed surfaces. So Cactus View with a new shade structure, playground and swing set. Campobello with new playground equipment and the rubberized surface, and Pinnacle High School with a refinished gym floor. Desert Shadows Middle School had a resurface of their sport court, and yes, those are pickleball lines. And Mercury Mine, and this is a beautiful shot of the new sport court there with the mountains in the background And you can see just how worn and faded the original court was. Restroom upgrades. Restroom remodels, we had 10 total projects at 7 sites. Restroom remodels include updated surfaces that are easy to clean and sanitize, and updated fixtures that are less likely to fail, of course, conserving water. We had 2 substantial locker upgrade projects, one at Shadow Mountain High School and one at Paradise Valley High School. Locker rooms, similar to restrooms, have well-used surfaces and plumbing that need attention after many years of use. And a before and after of the Shadow Mountain locker project. You can see the amazing things, a little paint, some resurfacing, and some LED lighting can bring to a room. And speaking of LED lighting, we have 3 projects actually in the works right now. LED lighting is brighter and significantly more energy efficient in comparison to fluorescent and incandescent lighting. LED lighting provides dimming capabilities to support the learning environment. And North Canyon is currently in progress, followed by Pinnacle and Paradise Valley. We had 16 fencing projects across the district. Upgrades included replacement of damaged existing fencing and the addition of fencing in selected areas to enhance security. We had a track upgrade, North Canyon High School. We completed a full replacement of the North Canyon track to address cracking and deterioration in several areas. And one of the turf fields that we took on as a project was the Palomino Intermediate Field. One of my favorite turf projects. We addressed drainage issues as evidenced in the before photo, but expanded that play field and installed a new sport court. So I've heard a report that the Lunchtime Soccer Club and the newly founded volleyball club are enjoying their new facilities. We installed 4 marquees and 1 scoreboard this summer. Existing marquees with outdated electronics and limited screen capability were replaced. And additionally, the Rattlers got a new scoreboard on their baseball field. We installed 6 new emergency generators, providing emergency power and lighting at our school sites as part of an ongoing comprehensive safety project that includes the upgrade of emergency generators, classroom lighting, and emergency power. And those power voice systems, data systems, and the life security systems at the school sites. We had a few comprehensive projects that we tackled. One of them was Cactus View Elementary School. We originally went in just to address some of the drainage concerns and realized that we really had a missed opportunity to do some work in creating a learning environment, as this is kind of a central courtyard at Cactus View. And so you can see the opportunity to put down some artificial turf and give an outdoor learning space was really turned out nice. Sunrise Middle School, another comprehensive project. Work included new landscaping, irrigation, and renovation to brighten and modernize the front of the school. Long-term interior drainage issues were addressed, and a shaded outdoor learning and performance space was created. Additionally, improvements were made to the bin and bike rack areas. So lots of nice work at Sunrise Middle School. And the last project I'm going to share photos with tonight are of the Paradise Valley High School kitchen and cafeteria remodel. This project included a kitchen renovation that included configuration changes, new lighting, a new walk-in freezer, new refrigerator components, painting, plumbing upgrades, and epoxy floors in a kitchen originally built in 1968. See the before of the serving area and the after. And then in the cafeteria itself, we installed new ceiling tiles, paint, lighting, and rebuilt the elevated platform space for ADA access and more functional use. And you can see the before pictures, the during construction picture, and the finished product. Other areas that we addressed deficiencies and made improvements in our district included this list here, from roofing to EMS, HVAC controls, to improving the bleachers in our gyms. These were additional projects that comprise the 255. And I do want to just take a moment to give a brief update on the status of our work with the Arizona School Facilities Board. As you know, we participate in the Building Renewal Grant Program, which is a statewide, essentially a competitive grant to fund deficiencies at school sites. And from the fall of 2023, PV Schools has been awarded over $2.5 million from the state Building Renewal Grant Program. And lastly, and again, we want to express our gratitude to the PV Schools community for their support of our bond initiatives. We appreciate the opportunity to provide our students and staff with improved, safe, and comfortable learning environments. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Davis. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Mrs. Case?
Thank you so much for this picture-enriched presentation. And, you know, that's a lot of work to get done over the summer. And even if the work isn't completely done, what interferes with learning is done. And I so appreciate that. And I know you've had a really busy summer. So it seems as if this is the most work I have seen gotten done over a summer. So I congratulate you. I've been on this board a long time, and that was a lot of work. And we so appreciate our voters in allowing the bond to go forward so that we can take care of our facilities and make it a nice place for our students to learn. Thank you.
Anybody else have any? Mr. Pantera?
Yes, during my career here in PV, I've been at schools that were having this thing or the other thing redone or remodeled. The only time I enjoyed packing up my classroom was knowing that, oh, we're getting new carpets. Okay, all right, no problem. That's great. Or you go into the teacher's lounge and there'd be little samples. Well, these are the kind of colors we're talking about. Which ones do you think would be the best? You know, we actually get some input with that. And when you come to a campus after a summer and there's anything like that done new, anything that's improved, not only do the students and parents see it as a better environment, teachers, we love it too. It's a new fresh start. It's like, yeah, we're pumping energy. We're pumping all kinds of new feelings of success into our programs in our schools just from that visual and the renewal of the building. So I'm really happy about it. And again, thank you for the community for supporting that.
Thank you, Mr. Pantera. Mrs. Baker?
Thank you. That was incredible. I mean, that's just so much work. And I just appreciate how we keep up our buildings and our classrooms and our campuses in this district, because I feel like it really makes a difference. And I'm glad you did the LED light thing, because I was just at a school recently and the principal was showing me how like they could dim and they weren't flickering to distract the kids with like ADHD and autism. And I was gonna bring that up, but it looks like we're doing that. So that's amazing. And also, these kids are playing pickleball. I pick up junior high kids and they talk about how they're gonna go play pickleball in the courts after school. So I think that's awesome that you updated to what the kids are interested in now. So thank you so much.
Anybody else have anything? I just want to add my thanks. both to our voters for giving us the ability to be this expansive in our upgrades, and to you and your department in terms of getting all of this done. Now, I'm just asking for, I'm not expecting a precise amount. If we did not have bond money, how much of this would we have been able to pursue, do you expect?
I couldn't give you a number, but I do know that we have, a finite amount of capital money and DAA money. And we would have to make really tough decisions about how to spend that money to meet the needs of our facilities.
I mean, I'm presuming many of the upgrades that we saw would not, we might be seeing new paint, we might be seeing, but the marquees would have stayed what they were. It would have been the essentials and the essentials only, I would guess.
It would definitely be a different project list.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Davis.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And again, we always love the pictures too. Before we adjourn, I usually give you a reminder of the next board meeting, but there is an event that's happening before that. And Monday is Dr. Reynolds' birthday. So I would appreciate it if, shouldn't be on Facebook if you don't want that now. I'm going to turn my mic off, but we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, and let's sing him a happy birthday, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, I think. No, thank you very much. That was very kind.
And now, before we adjourn, I would just like to remind you that the next regular board meeting will be held on Thursday, October 10, starting at 6:30 p.m. Mrs. Christensen, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you all for being here. We are adjourned.